The Toyota Camry could be called one of the most rational vehicles ever made. It's a relatively affordable mid-size sedan that, to many consumers, says this car may not turn heads, but it will run and run and run. As a writer for car blog Jalopnik said in January, let's face it, nobody really wants to own a Toyota Camry, but everyone wishes their automobile was as reliable and trouble-free as one. Indeed, Toyota's reputation for reliability has long been widely admired and envied throughout the automotive industry, and competitors have tried to copy its formula for consistently producing practical cars that just go and don't have a lot of problems. The Camry is perhaps one of the best examples of how well a formula like that can work. While Toyota and its passenger cars do have a reputation for being rather bland, it appears that quite a few people do actually want to own a Toyota Camry. In fact, the car is one of the top-selling sedans of all time. However, sedans like the Camry seem to be steadily vanishing from roads in the US and in some other markets around the world. Some drivers love the Camry, others despise it, but in many drivers, it mostly elicits indifference. It is a car, a means of transportation, nothing fancy, loud, or passionate. But for millions of buyers, it has been a reliable vehicle purchased over and over again. But as drivers shift into a whole new kind of family vehicle, the Camry stands to become another car of the past. The early history of the Camry name is confusing. The Camry was first introduced in Toyota's home country of Japan in 1980. It was originally meant to be a four-door sibling to the Toyota Celica, a two-door coupe then in its second generation. But the Toyota Celica Camry, as it was then called, didn't have much in common with the Celica it took its name from, and was instead made from parts off another Toyota model of the time, called the Carina. The Celica Camry lasted only a couple of years, and Toyota rebooted the Camry brand as a standalone model in March of 1982. Like its predecessor, it had 4 doors, but Toyota turned the car into a front-wheel drive vehicle powered by a transverse engine. Up to that point, Toyota sold the Corona as its 4-door sedan in the US, as well as in many other markets. Toyota had been selling the Corolla, a compact sedan, in the US since 1968, and that model was gaining popularity. But Toyota pulled the larger Corona from the States in 1983, and it needed a midsize substitute. The Camry was introduced to the US that same year. Quickly, it rode the reputation Japanese cars were getting among American consumers for being affordable, dependable, and practical. 1997 was the first year Toyota Camry earned the title of #1 selling passenger car in America. Since then, it has mostly held that title, joined at the top of passenger car sales rankings by other Japanese vehicles, such as the Honda Civic, Honda Accord, and Toyota Corolla.
Camry's been the top-selling car most of these years. It looks like Accord beat it in 2001, but outside of that, Camry's been the top-selling car, that's a pretty good run.
Throughout its history, the car became incredibly popular in the United States and around the world. Today, it is produced in 8 countries and sold in more than 100. Toyota has sold more than 18 million Camrys throughout the vehicle's history. Despite this, the Camry has been facing a broad and potentially serious headwind. Consumers in the US are increasingly turning away from sedans and toward pickup trucks and sport utility vehicles. In 2009, passenger cars made up 53% of all new cars sold. By 2019, that number dropped to 29%.
Passenger cars are down under 30% and still falling. So everyone wants to know, when's that going to end? And the answer is no one really knows, but clearly not yet.
So what are people buying instead? Mostly sport utility vehicles, which grew from just over 27% in 2009 to 47% in 2019. While the Camry is Toyota's best-selling passenger car, it is now outsold in the US by the RAV4, a mid-size crossover sport utility vehicle. There have been SUV crazes before, but the severity and sheer persistence of this shift in recent years has startled auto industry experts. Some companies, especially American ones, have responded to this market shift by cutting production of their sedans and compact cars almost entirely and focusing their energies on SUVs and trucks. Toyota does acknowledge that Camry sales have fallen from 473,108 at its peak in 2007 to 336,978 in 2019. But the Japanese manufacturers who dominate passenger car sales in the US are not pulling out of the segment yet.
And if you need any proof that people are still buying sedans, consider this: if you took the Toyota Corolla and the Camry and separated it from the rest of Toyota and created a new brand, that brand would be the 9th largest auto manufacturer in the country.
The Camry has also gained considerable popularity among a particularly novel population of customers: ride-hailing service drivers. Many ride-hailing app users who live inside or even outside major cities in the United States may find themselves sitting inside a Camry. A report for the New York Taxi and Limousine Commission said that 27,000 of the 72,000 non-premium app-dispatched vehicles in New York City are Camrys. The runner-up Honda Accord accounted for just 8,200. This is despite the fact that just over 2% of all cars on the road in the US in 2019 were Camrys. Toyota seems undaunted by the trend away from passenger cars. The odd thing is that the disappearance of sedans from other manufacturers appears to have actually caused the Camry to grab market share.
Some of the domestic manufacturers dropping their passenger cars, and that's opening the door for Toyota and some of the other Asian brands to scoop up some of that share. Now, sales are still falling, right? It's still, cars are dropping, I think, more than 10% a year. But if you look at market share, Toyota Camry is doing just fine.
The automaker sees further opportunity where others are giving up.
So as other manufacturers withdraw from this market, that just means more share for us, right? The Camry grew from 15% market share in 2015 to over 20% in 2019. So a 5 percentage point growth in that 5-year period in our market share. So that's great. And Camry is still, with volume of 337,000 units last year, it's still a very important part of our portfolio and will continue to be for the foreseeable future.
Though Toyota has found success with a simple formula of value and reliability, the automaker has shown it is willing to play around a bit. After taking the helm of the company, Toyota President Akio Toyoda, descendant of the automaker's founder, gave his employees an order: no more boring cars. The brand has set about reviving old names, such as the Supra, a 2-seat sports car. It has developed a new global line of performance cars under the Gazoo Racing badge, named for Toyota's motorsport division. Toyota redesigned the Camry, producing what many say is a more visually compelling vehicle. Historically, Toyota has been known as a company that often prioritizes engineering and production over design. But Akio Toyoda's mandate has given designers more of a seat at the table than they have had in the past. Battling the Camry's forgettably practical image, the automaker's design team made several changes that made the car sportier and more aggressive looking, with a sleeker profile and a wider stance. The whole car was lowered to the ground compared with its predecessor. Designers dropped the hood of the car more than 1.5 inches and lowered the hip points in the front and rear seats by about 1 inch. This allowed them to lower the roof without shrinking space in the cabin. Akio Toyoda even called the car sexy at its debut at the North American International Auto Show in Detroit in 2017.
I know, right? They almost make me wonder if I'm at the right press conferences. And between this new XLE and XSE, a customer will have 2 very distinct Camrys to choose from: sexy and really sexy. Now I know calling Camry sexy might be overstating that.
It has also released special editions and variants of the Camry that have gone in some eye-popping directions. The the company came out with the Nightshade Edition, essentially an appearance package that adds large black wheels, a black Toyota badge, and other accents that give the car a meaner, sportier look. The automaker took it one step further in 2018 when it stunned the automotive press by releasing a version of the Camry with the company's Toyota Racing Development, or TRD, badge on the car. Toyota makes TRD versions of trucks and SUVs, such as the Tacoma, Tundra, and 4Runner. These versions bear special suspension systems, brakes, and other tweaks, typically meant for off-roading and off-road racing. But the automaker has only rarely made TRD versions of its cars meant for driving on pavement. The choice to then fit the badge on a Camry and the equally conservative larger Avalon sedan was a shocker. But it did help to show that Toyota is willing to roll the dice, take some risks, and be eccentric, qualities that often charm auto enthusiasts. The only danger in Toyota's no more boring cars philosophy is messing around too much with a formula that has won over so many buyers throughout the years.
So the Camry has definitely been a meaningful vehicle because the Camry just represents no hassle, no worries about reliability, something that is very, very dependable. And this has been the mantra of Camry for a very long time. It is quiet, it is comfortable, it is roomy, and it's dependable. And that is very attractive to many car buyers. And it's held to that formula. It has not tried to be something completely different. It has not tried to be super sporty. It hasn't tried to be totally technologically the first ones or whatnot. And that tried and true formula has worked.
If it works out, Toyota has the opportunity to squeeze more margins out of the car at a time when volumes are declining. And a car that has become a kind of accidental icon to many drivers may have a better chance of sticking around just a bit longer.